Hi, class. What I wanted to talk about this week, since we're studying different types of contracts and the legal implications behind them, is working with the Department of Defense and the U.S. military regarding contracts for military goods. Where I used to work, Johnson Controls, we did contracting with the United States Navy, both directly for the Defense Logistics Agency, which is basically the direct supply chain for the military, as well as Navy suppliers like Newport News Shipbuilding and Electric Boat, both of whom were building aircraft carriers and submarines that the government had contracted. What I want to talk about are there are several legal as well as ethical issues that are involved in dealing with government contracting. The first thing you must understand when dealing with the government is that you have to comply with what are called the Federal Acquisition Regulations that govern how you can price your goods and services. I know we've all heard the stories about the $700 hammer and the $1,500 coffee pot, but that just does not happen now. I'm not going to go into great details about the FAR regulations, but I'll break it down like this. If you have a contract from the U.S. government and the value of said contract exceeds $750,000, you are subject to a cost audit by the government to ensure that your pricing is not out of line and that you're not gouging them. At Johnson Controls, one of the last things I did for them was to compile all the sales data for two large contracts that we were bidding on, both of which exceeded the $750,000 threshold, and I had to give all that information as far as my sales price to our accounting team. What the accounting team then had to do was justify the pricing, the cost structure behind how we went to determine our sales price to the government. So he had to sit down with our purchasing team to verify the cost of goods that we were buying from our vendors. He has to sit down with the operations team to justify the hours that are being worked on any particular unit and the labor dollars associated with that. He also takes a look at the amount of overhead that's being spent by the accounting team, the engineering team, the quality team, myself in sales, to justify the overhead expenses so that when it was all said and done, our net profit, after tax net profit, did not exceed 12%. If it did, then we would not be awarded the contract and we would have to go back and reprice all of our goods. A couple interesting things about defense contracting are there are rules that come along with them. These are regulated by the Defense Contract Management Agency through what is called the Defense Priorities and Allocation System, or DPAS. What this deals with are what are called rated contracts. In this, there's two different types of military contract, or rated military contracts. One is called DO rated and the other DX. If you are awarded and accept a DO rated military contract, you are now contractually obligated to deliver the product or service in the time frame that you agreed to. If for some reason you find during your manufacturing process that you're not going to be able to complete the military contract in the scheduled time frame due to other work holding you up, the DO rated military contract by law takes precedent over all work. Therefore, what can happen is you must put all your other clients' work aside to ensure that you meet your contractual obligations for the military contract. This rating is also passed down through your supply chain to your vendors that you're purchasing goods from so that they understand that you're dealing with a DO rated military contract, and any work that might keep them from supplying you parts needed to ensure you hit your contractually obligated delivery date, they now have to put other work aside and put the DO rated military work in front of it. The other contract is called DX, and what the DX is, it takes precedent over a DO rated military contract. This is high priority to the military. It's usually goods going out to the battlefield, to the soldiers that are fighting. So as a demand, what I wanted to say is you have to understand when you accept these contracts the implications that can come with them. If for some reason you cannot supply in a timely manner, the military has every right to come and take your intellectual property and give it to somebody else in order to fulfill their contractual needs. If you guys have any questions on this, please feel free to reach out to me. And it's a pleasure hearing from everybody when we discuss issues regarding contracts.